Our speaker is Jessica Symons from Visioning Lab, United Kingdom. Today, she presents her talk on the topic, a study of popular romantic fiction over the ages. Why dating apps should pay less attention to appearance and instead focus on character.
Hello, my name is Jessica Symons from Visioning Lab, and I'm here to talk to you today at the Second International Conference on Love Studies about my research into using AI to develop love ontologies that can inform the design of dating apps. In the process of doing this research, I have developed an understanding of how to inform the design of the apps so that they can focus more on character and how people love rather than on appearance. My background, I run Visioning Lab, which is an R&D company, and I develop products and services using emerging technologies to tackle social and environmental goals. I focus currently on the two big technology change makers, the metaverse and AI, and I learn and understand by developing projects and solutions. In the process of making work, I come to understand how these technologies are changing our society and how they can be used to change things for better. As you can see in the pictures here, I've both developed augmented reality apps, 3D virtual worlds, sound walks, and bitcoins. And my focus is always on how are these technologies transformative and how can we use them for tackling social and environmental goals. My current research is looking at how to improve dating apps, specifically the development of a love ontology as a group of concepts, interconnected concepts that can be used to inform the design of dating apps. And I looked in particular at romantic fiction and used an ontology maker process with an interface into ChatGPT to develop a love ontology. Why focus on dating? Because uh, what we're finding is that dating apps have significantly disrupted the development of romantic relationships and also bring with it a significant challenge, which is that financial speculation has now become an intermediary in how people find partners. If you think about dating apps, they have a financial incentive to keep people coming back to their apps again and again. And yet, individuals coming to a dating app might want to find one person and get together with that person and never go back to the app. So we have this fundamental conflict in the solution design and the requirements of the users, where the solution design wants the users to come back again and again, i.e., to find more and more people, and the users want potentially, for many, to come find one person and then be with them for the rest of their lives. So this conflict is inherent within dating apps and is leading to a lot of confusion and distress amongst people in the development of their love relationships. And with young people being so used to using apps as a way of mediating their social relationships, there is both the potential for significant social problems emerging and also the likelihood of them being used. With the introduction of AI, which is increasingly being used to search and provide solutions for data based services, it is likely that it will increase as a mediator also in relationship development. And so I'm interested in how these technologies can be used for good. This research actually builds on a previous research that I talked about at the last conference, where I was specifically interested in why K dramas, so Korean dramas, South Korean dramas, have become so popular all over the world. And I argued that these dramas have three main themes which seem to be very appealing to young women in particular, particularly from the global south, where they're looking for partners who they have a sense of destiny with, who they feel like they've always known them, that they're somehow destined to be with them, that they're looking for a feeling of comfort, familiarity, and friendship with their partner. And they're looking for gestures of care. So they mutual gestures of care where they look after each other. If it rains, they put umbrellas over each other. If they're sick, they look after each other, and they cook for each other. And I argued last time that what this popularity of these dramas is revealing is that young women are looking for a romantic teammate. They're looking to form a couple, a team couple that they can face the life together with. And this was a finding that I then took into my current research project, which was if we're looking at this increasing desire that young women seem to be having around develop relationships which are mutually beneficial, mutually supportive, then how could we take that insight and use an AI tool in particular to develop a love ontology, looking actually at romantic fiction from across the ages, which has endured as a popular source of amusement and entertainment by, again, young women, and how can AI be used to help us analyze this. So the way that I chose to engage with AI was to work with it to make an ontology. And because, as I said, I work with products, I use this process to develop a tool called Ontology Maker. And I subsequently went on to develop ontologies for the metaverse sector, the energy sector, the water sector, and I'm working on law as well, disaster recovery. So this process that I developed for the design of dating apps, I then applied to lots of different sectors. So just to clarify what I mean by ontology in this context, so a lot of people who engage with ontology from a philosophical perspective will understand it as the study of the nature of being, how different people understand the world, existence, and their reality. That has evolved over time to be understood more as a structured framework for understanding different concepts in different contexts, which has then been refined further to now in IT, ontologies are used to mean the development of concepts through which different data systems can be integrated. So if you think about disparate data sets across a company, an ontology would be developed which would provide a meta level set of concepts around which the different data sets can be integrated. So for our purposes, we would define ontology as a cluster of terms around a particular concept and group with different relationships and hierarchies between those terms and groups. To use an analogy of a car, if you think about a glossary about different car parts, you would have the term, which would be, say, the engine or the wheels or the seats, and they would be defined in a particular way. If you then create an ontology about a car, you would not only have those terms, engine, fan belt, radiator, you would also describe the relationship between them. So the radiator cools the engine, for example, the fan belt services the engine, and you would also describe their functions as part of that process. So what we have with ontologies is a way of not only identifying the different terms that are used in a particular context and understanding them as concepts, but you also describe the relationships between them. So what I did for the ontology maker process is that I designed a way of making glossaries initially as a starting point for an ontology. So I started with terms with some categorization between them to work with the AI. And I did that by identifying different documentation that you could feed into the AI relating to a particular topic. and any existing glossaries, taxonomies, standards, and ontologies themselves. So these would all be fed into the AI process, and then a output would be a glossary, which can then be developed into multiple languages. So this was a process that I designed, working with, as I said, different kinds of sectors, the energy sector, the metaverse sector, and producing glossaries that were used by people working in the field. So I then did this with the AI. So I was looking for love-related documentation, which I fed in order to make a love ontology. And this was a very open process. I wasn't really sure what was going to come out of this. I was just interested in following the process and seeing what the results were. So the kinds of material that I fed in was looking at existing typologies of love, that have been produced already, and encouraging the AI to consider that, getting it to make visuals as well in relation to these different kinds of typologies. I fed glossaries in, or and I encouraged it to look at these glossaries. So romantic book glossaries, but also from other companies. And a first insight that emerged from this process was the heteronormative assumption that the AI was making, that it was assuming a heterosexual relationship. So I wanted to produce a multilingual ontology from the beginning. So I was looking for texts that I could feed in to the process across different languages. However, I needed to be careful about IP, so I was choosing books which did not have any copyright, and there weren't enough really of different languages to be able to feed it in. So I focused in on English, and because these books all had heterosexual relationships in them, this particular ontology that has come out is focused very much on traditional love relationships between men and women. So the first round that came out was different ways of understanding love as components. So the love and affection, passion and desire, commitment and loyalty, physical intimacy, courtship, and romantic gestures. So these were the different categorizations that were produced by the AI ontology maker process. And the other way of approaching it was to look at the functions of love. So, thinking not just about these different components, but also the actions involved. So, the emotions, how people feel, the relationships, how they relate to each other, and the expressions, how they show their love for each other, and the challenges, what do they do when things go wrong in their love relationship. So, these concepts become the basis around which an ontology can be developed. So, and talking about how I started off using a glossary approach, you'll see that all these different definitions came out, with the AI actually showing its source in relation to the definitions and then sorted between the different functions. So within emotions, we have love, desire, affection. Relationships, we have marriage, proposals, commitment, fidelity, expressions of showing kissing, wooing, flirting, and then the challenges involved of heartache, jealousy, betrayal. And interestingly, you can tell the sort of age of the books being fed in was swooning. Is not necessarily a state that many people talk about anymore. But what's really interesting about this is the extent to which these terms and these concepts have endured over decades, and many of which actually fit with the K-drama priorities that I identified in the first round of my research. So the next thing I did was I instructed the AI to then consider um, the LGBTQ plus aspects of relationships. So I had to make it effectively consider um, that draw attention to it being heteronormative in its analysis. And so it came up with a sort of a different way of representing um, love, which is mediated through an understanding of LGBTQ plus challenges. And it was particularly interesting to see here an awareness of people's legality in different parts of the world. So, how would dating apps benefit from using this love ontology? So, the key thing for me that came out of it was the real emphasis on how people love. I think that's the key insight for me was that we're looking at the processes that the steps people take when they love each other, and the extent to which that can be designed into the app design process. And this then can become a way of also bringing together the people with different sexualities, different understandings of engaging with the world, that they can be supported with this underlying understanding of love as an act. That it's how people love, which is the priority in the connecting process, rather than appearances. There is one app, I've only found one app, which is actually a sexually adventurous one, um, which is focused actually on how people love physically, should we say, but it's not just about physicality, it's also about how people engage with the world, how they perceive the world, and how they want to engage with other people. So it really fits with that ontological approach. The other tool that I've come across is the Harmonizer app, which is actually using AI to match people based on research into 20,000 happy couples. So we can follow that one with interest and see how it develops. I'm looking to collaborate with people. I want to do some ethnographic research into how people could use a love ontology to engage with existing apps. I'm carrying on with my technical research into the use of AI to design an ontology to support the design of apps. And I'm also interested in collaborating with people who are developing apps themselves. So it was great talking to you. Thank you very much.